wondering how his nation is taking his resignation tonight, here's the answer. It has been a day of unprecedented scenes of celebration.
Alors l'idiot de Sassou, regarde, Mugabe est parti. Mais pourquoi pas toi? Idiot. Voilà, Mugabe a montré l'exemple. Un vrai président africain. Il part.
This, for example, was the moment MPs in Parliament heard he had finally gone. And as the news spread around the capital, so did the relief. It is as if a 37-year shadow had been...
You hear that? 37 years.
Barely bring themselves to believe it. So what and who in the end pushed him out? And what next for this once vibrant country? John Ray is in Harare. Martin Geisler assesses what the future holds in Bulawayo in the south. Also on News at 10 tonight. All wrong. It was as if a whole downtrodden country had been awoken from some
in the kitchen. Put this off.
In the end, that is the exact truth.
This one.
The vice president, he's sacked.
It's okay like that.
Mnangagwa will take over within 2 days. He may turn out to be just as bad as Mugabe, of course. His track record is pretty terrible. But that is for tomorrow. Today, it was time to celebrate.
Joy unconfined. What had become a titanic battle of wills between an entire nation and just one man settled at last. It is a victory.
Alors Sassou, tu partiras quand avec ton clan? Regarde, Mugabe est parti. Hein? Non, Zimbabwe a montré l'exemple. Voilà une vraie démocratie. Oh, ils ont trop souffert. These people, they're suffering a lot. Many Zimbabweans, all the world, they will dance.
This is the man who made us 20,000 people.
The end came as a special sitting of Parliament began his impeachment. Still, Mugabe could not bring himself to utter the words, "I resign." Instead, a letter arrived. A confused huddle of officials. A thumbs up, and then uproar. His words were read by Parliament Speaker.
I, Robert Mugabe, in terms of Section 96, subsection 1 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, hereby formally tender my resignation as the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe with immediate effect.
As word spread, they came running, hundreds of them across the square in central Harare that has become a focus for protest. To some, we broke the news.
We've just heard the news Robert Mugabe has resigned. He's gone.
For sure.
For sure.
We're not yet sure, but we're hoping it's good news.
No, for sure, he's gone. He has resigned.
Good news for all Zimbabweans.
It is as if a 37-year shadow had been lifted from their
37 years.
Barely bring themselves to believe it. Robert
Mugabe.
is no longer...
How many years he doing?
It is exactly 1 week since the military moved in.
37.
And 2 nights since his last bizarre public appearance.
We cannot be guided by bitterness.
Mugabe alone, a man out of time. It's a night they thought they'd never witness. The last time Harare celebrated like this, it was to greet Robert Mugabe as their new leader in a land liberated from white minority.
Voilà, donc tu vois Sassou, Mugabe est parti, c'est le tien qui parle. Georges passé depuis la Grande-Bretagne. Alors toi tu partiras comme cafard.
You won't be surprised to hear that Mr. Mugabe's resignation has been welcomed around the world. Theresa May called it an opportunity for a new future free of oppression. But what kind of future will it really be? Zimbabwe is a land of valuable resources in both farming and manufacturing, but they were squandered in the Mugabe era. Its people hope that will now at last change.
Bulawayo's decrepit industrial district paints a picture of the modern Zimbabwe. Once thriving, now decaying. Most of it is closed for business. This was the country's manufacturing heartland. Look at it now. Even the city's sewage system is broken. The rebuild here will start from below the ground up.
It is important that everybody plays a part.
But the mayor is upbeat and optimistic. Reconstruction will bring jobs, he says.
Think how many people we could take when we get back on a project of, say, rehabilitating and replacing all the old pipes and putting new ones. So, yes, these are it, but these are the actual business opportunities as well.
They've waited decades for change here. If it is coming now, it won't be easy. What Zimbabwe needs immediately is investor confidence. It needs to persuade the world it's a good place to do business. But for money to come in, corruption has to stop. And that is this country's first and perhaps its biggest challenge. Zimbabwe has wealth below its soil. There is gold and platinum here, but much of the land is owned by people who can't afford to mine it. In his office, one owner showed me a directory of mines, hundreds of them, all sitting idle, he said. A huge opportunity for investment.
In Zimbabwe, we could have as much as more than 400,000 miners. If money could be sought and these people could be funded, in 6 months, we might be talking of revenue coming from that area.
But the biggest potential here is above ground.
Well, this was wonderful. Yeah, it was all clear. There was buildings here, everything, but decimated.
Dudley Rogers was one of thousands of white farmers who had their land taken from them. He lost 40,000 acres and 1,600 cattle. Most of it now lies ruined, and he's left with almost nothing. He doesn't expect to get much of it back, but he's still keen to help rebuild, to teach others how to harvest this land's potential.
Listen, this country has gone down the drain hugely in the last 37 years. I mean, it's tragic. But the fact of the matter, with the right people in the right place at the right time now, I tell you what, we can bring this country back. It can come back to the jewel of Africa, I'll tell you that.
There is a will here and a workforce. Now this country just has to find its way. Martin Geisler, News at 10, Zimbabwe.
And let's go back to John in Harare tonight. John, those really were amazing scenes. Must have been quite something to live through. But what happens to Mugabe, and where is he? What happens to Robert Mugabe now?
Well, at least he's been allowed to leave office with some dignity. The police checkpoint outside his home has gone, incidentally. We can assume, I think, that he has to perhaps overseas, perhaps into exile. We have yet to have confirmation of that. It might not be so, though, for his wife, Grace. Truly hated by the people here and the ruling party, and blamed by her rivals for pretty much all the ills of the past few years. Attitudes towards Mugabe himself, well, you know what, they are much more complex. There is a residual respect for him, and certainly no thirst for revenge that I can detect. And of course, the end of white rule here will be his lasting legacy. But in the end, like so many African revolutionaries of his generation, he simply couldn't let go. His regime, it stole elections, it stole a fortune, it stole this country's future. Tonight, here, they have won that future back.
Okay, John, for now, thank you very much indeed.